So the general concept of bait is to, well, bait out spells to punish your opponent being dumb. It takes advantage of cards being designed with high damage but low health as a downfall. To master bait, to master the strategy of bait, you need to keep track of your opponent's spells. If they just use the log, it's obvious you can now barrel uninterrupted. It's a control style of play, so works especially well against beatdown style decks. The goal is to always apply pressure. Gangs, princesses, barrels are all cards that they can't ignore if they want their towers to stay alive for a substantial amount of time. If you can make positive trades throughout the game and keep this pressure up, they will theoretically never be able to invest, which means you win the game over time. However, with all this pressure, you never want to be stacking multiple squishy cards together. Protecting a princess with a gang is a bad idea, as it's insane log value for your opponent. Bait decks consist of 4 main card types. They have a card that gains a lot of value, like a princess. They have a card that is their primary punish / win condition, like a goblin barrel. They have a card that is very squishy, but dishes out a ton of DPS, like Goblin Gang. And finally, they have a mini tank that protects the squishier cards and can also tank for the win condition on the counter attack. Preferably, this mini tank does decent DPS too, which allows the bait deck a way to dish out DPS if the opponent does decide to use spells on the squishy DPS card. The rest of the deck consists of a few cycle cards and an alternate win condition, like a miner or a rocket for example. With log bait, your primary damage dealer is Goblin Barrel. You want to be using this when you know their log is out of rotation, which you really need to be tracking. Your value card is Princess, which you want to be starting in the back and using for defensive value. Protecting it is really important too, as your opponent isn't going to want to log this card as they know they'll be punished. So if you can prevent normal troops from killing the princess, they may be forced to log it, which then allows a barrel to be played and you to get a ton of damage. In modern day bait, Dark Prince will likely be your mini tank. For defensive value, protecting a princess and aiding a counter push with a barrel. Rocket in this deck is sort of the alternate win condition. If they keep their log for your barrels, don't be afraid to rocket anything that costs 3 elixir or more and dies to the rocket. Bait has a pretty sturdy defense, so rely on defender's value after throwing the rocket here. Goblin Gang is your high DPS card, so if you punish the other lane and get them to expend a spell, you can rely on the gang to clean up tanks. You win games by stacking princesses on the board, but not all in one lane. Force them to expend the log, and punishes with a tanked 4 Goblin Barrel. Let's go into Zap Bait as it is in the title of the video now. The win condition here changed to Skeleton Barrel. If you want to check out how to really use this card, I'll leave my video on it in the top right now. Inferno Dragon is usually the card that attains a lot of value, and baits out zaps. It can deal with tanks alone, allowing you to go crazy in the other lane and just rely on it for defense. Ice Golem is your mini tank, which protects your bats and Inferno Dragons, allowing them to continue to do damage. Miner is in this deck style a lot, and is your alternate win condition if your Skeleton Barrels continue to fail. Goblin Gang and Bats are your main DPS that bait out spells. If your opponent doesn't use a spell, you can pair these with a Skeleton Barrel or Miner for a nice counter attack. You win games through Skeleton Barrel or Miner chip, with the occasional Mega Knight counter push. Although this card is somewhat dead now, so you may need to wait for a buff to be using this deck again. Use the barrel itself to tank for pushers, especially if you're pushing with squishy units like bats. Once it pops, a mini tank under it can take aggro for a devastating effect. So I may have actually forgotten to record an outro whilst doing the main audio part, but we'll ignore that and we'll fade the footage out about now, so it's just me, you, and the darkness of the black screen. Anyway, it sounds a bit weird, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Fun fact, about 75% of people watching these videos don't actually sub to the channel, which is sort of depressing, but 75% of you don't even make it this far to the video. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do, I beg, it means a lot. Anyways, boys, I hope you enjoyed, and peace.